Hello, my name is Francis Fox, and I'm kind of happy today. Um, I'm a trained remote viewer. I'm a victim of sex trafficking, mind control. I've been screaming about this since the 90s, and I started to reveal names 7 or 8 years ago when my handler, Rene de Villegas, I think he was just jerking me around, not sure, but he said he was going to put one of my granddaughters into sex trafficking network. So I'm a witness to him and the Cuban cartel, the Cuban mafia, being part of that network. Now, if he was just saying that to make me suffer or to make me do something I didn't want to do, well, then he can just tell us that because he's still around. He is actually living in a building across from the Hyatt in Alhambra in Coral Gables, Florida. I don't know how many times I've said that here and nobody's taking care of it, or the mayor of Coral Gables. I said it. I told him, and it's not taken care of. But we'll get into that later because actually I'm a really happy camper today. Very, very happy. And I'll tell you why. Let me get out of here. I did the map of the United States. I didn't know what I would find because of everything that's happening with the Epstein revelations. And then I said, I'm going to have the guts and I'm going to mind map Trump, who's one of my favorite people, even though I've been a little bit cranky with him that he hasn't cleaned up my city so that I can actually leave my apartment. Interesting. So let's go with the map of the United States first. I am trained in remote viewing. I am highly regarded to such an extent that the people who own me, the US government, plus other private people, don't want to let me go. And I never understood because I was trafficked with Kennedy when I was under 14 years old. I never understood because they did cut the heads off of people that were involved in that, why they didn't kill me. They didn't want to kill an asset that was valuable. So I'm really good at what I do. But you don't have to believe a word that I'm saying. Just listen. Just listen. Widen your lens, though, because if not, you're going to be fighting with your own little devil saying, she's lying, she's making it up, she wants to position herself. I'm not really great. Yeah, I'm positioned really well for the future. I'm not well positioned now. But let's go ahead with the map of the United States. Widen your lens, breathe, and just look at it. Okay. Here we go. Was done half an hour ago. And at the top in Spanish, it says mucho respaldo. I don't know why it came out in Spanish. That means a lot of support. And this is spiritual support. You have the Galactic Federation supporting the United States. The Merkaba is purple, which is the highest in vibration. It's the highest vibration, the color purple. You have a heart in the center of the United States, but you have tears coming from it. And of course, the country is, I'm not going to say the country is being torn apart. The country is in the middle of revelations. These are things that should have been revealed. They should have never happened, but they should have been revealed a long time ago. I've been talking about it since the 90s and a lot of other people. But now it's out, and of course it's going to shake up. That's actually, I understand why this stuff wasn't revealed before, because it's going to shake the foundations of science. Not, well, science we should throw out the window. They haven't helped us a lot, have they? Somebody's working on my head right now. My mind is slipping. So they listen to every single chat I have, even the ones that are 2 hours long with my group. But give me a second. Let me get a baseball bat, and I'm just joking. Let me get myself centered. Because in the Lord's Prayer, it says that if you are anchored and rooted, you don't have to be protected from evil. Okay, back to the United States map. The United States is totally protected, it is totally supported by the Galactic Federation and other dimensions. It's in the middle of Revelations, which is a planetary cyclical process which was supposed to happen. The Mayans said that the big problem at end times, and we are at the end of end times, the big problem was going to be the dark side of people being revealed. And that's exactly what's happening now. So we should pay more attention to the Mayans. And as soon as somebody lets me out of whatever cage I'm in, I am going to collect certain members of my family, and we're going to go look at those archaeological sites with Mayan pyramids and get more information from them, because they knew all about the Epstein thing. They didn't say the word Epstein's thing, but they said that the worst thing at the end was going to be revealing the dark side of people. And even the people themselves that had the dark side wouldn't accept it. They would go crazy. So, okay, so continuing on, you see the frequency waves and they're not real smooth. Well, you can't really expect smooth now. That's too much going on. But they are blue and pink, which is male and female working together. That's exactly what needs to happen for there to be stability. Then you have green on Florida and green on only one half of Texas. I don't get that, but and then you have a connection between Texas and Florida, which is obviously Elon and Trump, and then you have a point at the bottom. So there's going to be a triumvirate. Is that what they used to call it? When there's three really important people? One is Trump, one is Elon, and we're missing one person. And then you have all the pyramids in the Gulf of America. Mexico looks really good. We did a purification of their riots. Give me a second. Let me collect myself again. They're sending frequencies. And by the way, and widen your lens. Do you know who works really well with frequencies are the dragons? In Feng Shui, which you respect, they don't talk enough about the dragons, but you're supposed to honor them. Well, guess what? They can be part of your SWAT team. So right now I'm calling in the dragons for them to take care of the people with these machines. We took care of a lot of them yesterday, but let me continue on. Mexico's looking good. And I said, when everybody was complaining of Mexico and the president and they don't get along and da 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 da, I said, you know what? I don't know what's going on, but it really looks really good. It's going to be good for Mexico. And the map I drew 2 days ago that I forgot to talk about. Um, let me see if there's anything else here that we need to see. No, even New York and all that area does not seem to be. What is it that draw when I draw these maps? It's what pops out, what's important to know at that point. It doesn't mean that there's not other things happening. It just means that these are the important things that we need to know. So, where was I going? And the heart in the center of it, which I'll move over now so that you can see. There's tears. So the heart is there, but there's depression, which brings us. This is the first time I've done the mind map on Trump. Remember that I did Marjorie Taylor Greene? And is she still up here? I think she is. Let me put her up. Nope. There you go. She is a zombie. When she wasn't a zombie until recently, she was shaky. I could tell her energy bodies were not aligned well. She was not that smooth. She did not look that attractive. She was an attractive woman, not that attractive. I don't dislike her at all. Uh, so I did this 2 days ago, November 17th. Today's the 19th. She is being controlled by Schumer and by Schiff. All of her energy centers have been X'd out, which means they have curses on them. And her spirit, which you see at the right, has been knocked out of her assemblage of bodies. Everybody has one of these assemblage of bodies. You have one of these, all these units, and they fit inside each other like the Russian dolls. So let me go back to her. Here we go. So there's her spirit, which is red, which means she was very angry. So this is why she looks so smooth. This is why she looks so put together. This is why she even looks prettier, because she doesn't have all the emotions inside of her. She is disconnected from her emotional energy body, which is her spirit, which is the case for all of us. So her complete change of heart about Trump makes sense because she is being controlled by Schumer and Schiff. The only interesting thing about this, which might not be interesting to you, is I saw her earlier in the day on the 17th, and Schiff was at the top and Schumer was at the bottom in terms of cannabinoid mind streams inserting into her and controlling her. And then by the end of the day, or the day that I sketched, it was reversed. I don't know what that means. It's certainly some kind of dynamic changed. And Schiff is still entirely too operational, for my opinion. So let's go on to Trump. And I was afraid to do this. And I'm going to say that if it had been god awful, I wouldn't have be showing it to you. I've never done it before. So I'm not hiding anything. And thank God I don't have to hide anything because it would have really been heartbreaking for me if I had found out that he was being controlled. Here is Trump. Those black lines are a massive depression. And at the top, I put 6 weeks of misery. So Trump, from this week till 6 weeks from now, which is basically the beginning of the year, you're going to be miserable. And guess what? The astrology I did for Gemini, which is Trump's astrological sign, said massive depression for this week. I think, Trump, that you wanted to have a elegant, smooth, you very much in control rollout of all this stuff that's coming out now. Not possible. Too much. So you lost control, but what's coming out is coming out because it's revelations. And it has to come out. And if you go back to the map of the United States, what you're doing is totally supported. And if you look at your map, Trump, you're not being controlled by anybody. And look at your coccyx, which is incredibly anchored. And in the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic, not the one that we were taught in Aramaic, the line that says, deliver us from evil, protect us from evil, that is not what it says in Aramaic. It says, help us to be in the present, which means rooted and grounded in the earth element. And Trump's coccyx, which is like a stake, is what is very strong and very anchored. And every time somebody says, there, he's going off golfing again, I go, forgive them, Father, they know not what they do. The more you are in contact with earth, the healthier you are, the less evil is able to penetrate. So criticizing him because he went off to play golf just means a lack of knowledge of what's important on planet Earth. So I sketched myself. My heart is very centered, which is good because normally my heart is closed. The mind control program specializes in totally breaking your heart. They have to break your instincts for survival and they have to break your heart. And that way they can control you. So mine is centered, which is good, means I've done really good work, but there's a lot of tears. That makes sense. The big thing, and I'm kind of glad that I sketched this, I'm going to flash it here, is this box, which means there's a lot of black magic to bury me so that I don't move forward. So I know what I need to work on. So contrary to what I was feeling when I decided I was going to sketch the energies because of the whole mess that's in the news, it's actually part of a planetary process. It's called revelations. The Mayans nailed it when they said that the big issue at the end was going to be people, regular people, having their dark side revealed. And that's exactly what's going on. Which is why I need to get out of here and get over to those pyramids and get all the other information that the Mayans could have for us that would help us to get through this time. So let me go back to, so everything that's going on now is revelations. We have a frequency shift. A cycle is ending. It ended yesterday. There was a portal that opened on the 11th of November and it closed yesterday. And supposedly from yesterday forward, you're going to kind of know which group you ended up in. The group that was elevated, or the group that gets kind of the group whose frequency is low. So here's the trick. I can tell I feel a massive difference. And let me first tell you what determines your frequency. This assemblage of bodies, those are all your bodies, including the one at the right, which is shaped like the Star of David, which is a symbol for 6,000 years. Judaism took it on as their symbol 2,000 years ago because it's a protection, it's a talisman of protection. In this assemblage of bodies, you have your spirit body, which is your astral emotional body. I'm going to try not to make it complicated. It's comprised of astral emotional particles. Okay, they have a weight. Science knows that. Somebody called Candace Perk wrote a book called Molecules of Emotions. She got X'd out. The government gave her tons of money. They opened a lab. They told her she couldn't work with anybody else. Well, that's fine. With all that money, why would I? And they shut it down. She couldn't do anything further. Molecules of Emotions will explain your frequency shift. I don't remember the book. It was 30 years ago, but she nailed it. They weigh. The molecules have a weight. So let's say that when you were young, your father was an alcoholic and used to kick you or hit you, or you were raped, or your father died. Emotions. Okay. That means you have a break in your mind streams, your cannabinoid mind streams, and there's like a little knot there. And that knot has your negative emotions. You can't scream for 10 years about the fact that your father kicked you when you were young. Get over it, is what the psychologists say. Talk about it and then get over it. No. You got to go to that little knot in the cannabinoid mind streams. You don't, because they don't do that in psychiatry. They lower your emotions, which makes it go deeper. Psychologists say, let's talk about it. That's not the dimension those astral particles are in. The more trauma you have that you have not purified, the heavier you weigh in the other dimensions. Your frequency is lower. The smile on your face does not take care of it. Your good deeds do not take care of it. They don't. It's how it's your weight. And I guess that's why Anubis, the god of the underworld, you need to widen your lens. If you want superpowers, you need to know that the reason we're required to know about mythology is because it was real. Why would we have to know if it wasn't real? So widen your lens. Anubis, the god of the underworld, used to weigh people's hearts, and it had to weigh less than a feather. And then you could go off to, I guess, the other lifetimes, great places, I have no idea. So even Anubis knew that was the weight that was important. People don't know that. Society tells you, wipe that frown off your face, be happy. Come on. Meanwhile, something god awful just happened, and 10 minutes later, you're supposed to be happy. Or you're supposed to not let anybody know what you're feeling. And then that's the whole emotional dishonesty. So it's not about how good you are and how nice you are. This is a planet of light and dark. I have been through more darkness than probably all of you put together. I have done over 30 years of therapy, and I used to spend tens of thousands of dollars because I had it. I don't do that now. I do mantras. They don't cost anything, and they're the most effective thing around. Mantras are a device that liberates your cannabinoid mind streams. The definition is it's a device that liberates your mind, or your mind are the cannabinoid mind streams. Okay, you need to be on cannabis. So the whole frequency thing doesn't have to do with how nice you are, how great you are, what you did. None of that. It has to do with repressed astral particles of emotions. And we were in business in this country, leave your emotions at the door. Anyway, we're bringing to the table a movement called the Mantrista movement And we spent the first 7 years just dealing on purifying ourselves, our families, our houses, and countries. And we've done a lot of purifications on the United States. We purified the fire in Mexico that was causing the riots several days ago. It turned out that there were helicopters that have little technology that increase astral particles of fire. So they were increasing the anger of the protesters. There's supposed to be another one on the 20th. See if we can get those helicopters taken down. Alas, the dragons. So the frequency shift that we're in supports revelations. So Trump and all the rest of you that are going, oh my God, the country's going to fall apart. What's next? You need to know that it is supported. And the map that I did, the United States is supported. So it's going to be okay. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be okay at the end. But you know what is important? What's important is an acceptance of the fact that people can do god awful things. And to do what there's a group in psychology has recommended to ask, they did that? Oh my God, they're terrible. No, you're supposed to ask, oh my God, what happened to them that they did that? What happened to Marjorie Taylor? What's her name? Green Taylor? Taylor Green? Remember, I have programming for names and faces, so I won't remember politicians. What happened to her? Well, she got knocked out by the bad guys in mind control, Schiff and Schumer. So rather than trashing her, Trump, not quite sure what you should do, but you could probably get the tantric monks over here and she could get some purifications done. I'm not sure that that Schiff and Schumer are going to let go of her, but Schiff and Schumer will be taken care of rather quickly now, because of the whole frequency shift situation. So, if since yesterday you haven't felt like this weight got off of you, and things are not easier and more clear, then you need to very quickly, and it's a little bit late because the information that we have, which we posted all over the place, was that once that door, that window closed, it would be very difficult for those that get left in the lower frequencies to be able to jump into the higher frequencies. I'm not exactly sure why that would be. So I want to remind you, Trump, of my request. By the way, I was very relieved when I did your mind map. I've never done it. I was going to do a mind map. Let me see if I can do it now. But I won't show it to you if it's not great. How's that? Because honestly, I don't need trouble. Let's see. Hold on. What I do is okay, revelations. Okay, what I get, I put on the paper the word. I want to know about this situation, a person, a business, a deal. In this case, the revelations of Epstein, and it says all okay, but there has to be forgiveness. So I think that the Christian thing of pointing fingers, get over it, and the Christian thing of forgiving, you need to incorporate. And the next part of human evolution is going to include understanding why humans who are all good people, why they would do bad things. Why did I do bad things? It wasn't just blackmail, which continues today. That's why I can't see my family or friends or anybody. It wasn't just blackmail. They knocked me out of my physical body several times, by the way, because most people have more than one astral body, and they have programming. So if you can wrap your head around that, then you have to look at people and say, why would they have done that? What the hell happened to Epstein that he did that? And until you can get to that bottom line, it's not going to end. And by the way, the bottom line has to do with spirits. And it has to do with the spirits that the Catholic Church has part of their listing of spirits, which are called the incubus and the succubus. And maybe you should go ahead and pay $12 and buy my book called Sex. We need to figure this out because it talks about it in there. You cannot have sexual issues unless you have spirit attachments that are those kind of attachments. They're from off planet. They want to take over, and guess what? They kind of did. They could destroy us today. And your religion tried to tell you about spirits, but you didn't want to listen. And so here we have this problem. So start asking, why would they do that? He was blackmailed. Okay, I was blackmailed. Uh, that's not him. That's correct. Because you see, in the assemblage of bodies, your physical body and the words coming out of your mouth are not you. You are that body all the way in the middle, excuse me, the gold body, which is your astral spirit body. That's you. Your physical body dies and it's gone. Your astral spirit body does not. I just put out a book on that, which of course nobody's buying either. But every psychologist needs to have that book as their Bible. It explains all of the situations that are psychological. You can find it on Amazon. It's called Your Astral Spirit Body. The other one's called Sex. We got to figure this out. And that book, Sex, You Got to Figure It Out, I'm not sure that I sold over 25 copies. And yet, it would explain what's going on in terms of Epstein. But you don't want to get into the cause of things, do you? You just want to slap around the people that are victim of stuff that they were never taught. How about your kids and your grandkids? Anyway, I'm going to get over that. I'm very happy. I love the map of the United States. We are in a really good place. I had the courage to sketch Trump. Those black things are his cannabinoid receptors, many of them massively depressed, but that is part of his astrology this week. So you might want to follow me astrologically. You might want to look at my opinion on cannabis, which is why they call the Fox mind streams cannabinoid receptors, because they receive cannabis really, really well. So what my book, we go to my website on the book, which is francisfoxcannabis.com. Okay? And I'm a happy camper. I'm a happy camper. This is a mess that we have to get through. And we will. Okay? Thank you. Bye.